good evening all really, and thank you to Orchard Community Energy for supporting us over this year really, and it's good to hear that you're looking to support charities even more. As part of my role, I'm the business development manager for children and families, and funding is certainly becoming harder and harder to try and secure, and it's great that it's going to be used locally from what we do. But if we go to the next slide, I'll explain a bit more about what Children and Families is. So we're a children's charity that was set up in 2002 based in Sheerness. We tried to aim to tackle child poverty and food poverty, but we are sort of like expanding into sort of like a bit of an environmental focus with some of our work and some of the projects that we are doing. People locally across Swale might not necessarily recognise the name Children and Families because we have lots of services that sort of like get more recognition. So like Seashells Children's Centre, which is a family centre based in Sheerness that welcomes everyone in the community. We've got Seashells Nursery and Rising Stars Nursery, two nurseries providing childcare. We operate Creche Care, which is sort of like a agency service to support other nurseries that are struggling with their staff. We have a variety of community support projects. So we have a Fuel and Water Home Advisor project, which is partly what the Renewable Roadshow is linked to. But we have things like family finance workers, family learning projects, and more recently, we're linked into the Household Support Fund. We operate the Family Food Bank, so we have 74 different distribution centres now across Kent and Medway, and demand for that service has gone through the roof, as you'd expect with the current crisis. We also operate Fair Share Kent, so we take good quality surplus food from the food industry and we redistribute that to charities and community groups. And we're working with roughly about 135 different charities and community groups at the moment. And more recently, we've developed Kent Community Pantry, so that's operating out of Sheerness, Ashford and Margate, which tries to make food affordable. So for £3.50 a week, families can roughly get about £40 worth of food. And the idea of that concept is to not necessarily make them reliant on using a food bank, but it uses fair share surplus to make the project affordable. And it enables like fresh produce and things like that at a much more sensible cost that then can be increase their well-being and all sorts of things like that really. So next slide please. So the Renewable Roadshow project was a follow-on project really from the Big Green Week or the Great Big Green Week last year, where we were offering sort of like renewable products and energy efficiency products to the local community and much more of a smaller scale, just focused on an event that we held at Seashells. We do have a Fuel and Water Home Advisor scheme as well, where this links into, but I'll explain that a little bit later. The aim of the project is to work with deprived communities and the most vulnerable residents across Swale, from families to the elderly, with the idea that they can become greener, save money and reduce their carbon footprint. And with the funding that we forecasted, that we'd sort of like be able to provide sort of like 400 renewable packs to people that attended our events really. So next slide, please. So this is pretty much our delivery team. So you may have seen some of these people or may know them. So Steve Petit is our Fuel and Water Home Advisor. And then more recently, our project sort of developed and expanded to a couple of roles. So we have Teresa Harris, who sort of like assists the project, that focused more on dealing with this project alongside Steve. And then we had Corin Funnel, which I don't know if you remember the government Kickstart scheme. So we had one that started with us late March, early April, and he's only recently just left. But he focused on working with children to promote renewable usables to try and encourage the next generation to be smart and sensible with their products really. So next slide please. So generally we started delivering the project. It's gone across the whole of Swale, so we've had different sessions in Faversham, Sittingbourne, and across the whole of the Isle of Sheppey. As you'd generally expect with the current crisis and how this year's panned out with the costs going through the roof, demand for our service has been quite high, but it has also enabled us to work in a slightly more effective way, that we've reached out to different partners. Some people have given us products for free, some products we've had to pay for. But we've delivered, as of the end of August, we had 16 roadshows that we've delivered. we handed out 460 packs and supported 1,150 residents across Swale. So next slide, please. The types of products that we generally give. So the LED light bulbs, as children and families, we were quite fortunate. I think it was probably back in 2017, actually, that we had a grant with Orchard that enabled us to replace our own light bulbs in our centre. I think it was in the region of 175 or so light bulbs needed to be replaced. And the efficiencies that created us was almost sort of like saving us about £1,000 a year. So it's amazing as such a simple product that now is much more affordable. A lot of the residents, particularly in the more deprived communities, didn't really necessarily know the products were available and the different contrasts that they can last, you know, four times the length of a standard light bulb. And different tones to the levels as well. So that's been brilliant. We have like set lists. So you'll see there's two different colours here. So we've got a black list and a blue list. The black list is generally what sort of like gets given out to help create the efficiencies in our standard packs as part of this project. The aspects that go in the blue are if they took up a one-to-one consultation with our Fuel and Water Home Advisor service. So there was an additional benefit, and the idea of speaking to our Fuel and Water Home Advisor was to work in a much more targeted way to look at their energy usage, cost of consumptions, and what more could be done to try and help them. As well as part of that service, they can also provide fuel bank vouchers and different things to really support those that are really struggling during this time. And we developed loads of sort of like marketing and leaflets and information how to use these products and how they can benefit you and the savings that they can make, which went really, I suppose, put that into a picture format for some of the people that we were working with, because some of those do struggle to read, write, and they wanted things in a much more simplified way. So that has been brilliant. Next slide, please. So generally the events that we've delivered, we had 3 events that we've held at Seashells, ranging in lots of different ways, from Beep Beep Day, where we held a road safety event, which Corin organised, and we had every school, Year R reception class, and every nursery within the area of Sheerness come along to our car park, where they were learning different things about road safety, but as well as efficiency things. And he was trying to highlight to them that if you necessarily put a weight in a bucket, you can see that you're going to use less water when you're flushing your toilet, and lots of different things like that to try and make it visualize at a younger age. We've done 3 events at Swale CVS and Sittingbourne. We've linked in with Sheppey Matters, the children's centres across Swale, Friendly Faces Kent. We've been in the Salvation Army as well as linking in with the Age UKs. And then we've got some further ones coming up to finish off the year. I think in total, we've got about 10 more events that are going to be coming up. And we're also open to ideas if there are people in the community that know things that are happening and want a presence or some packs given out to get in touch with us and see what we can do, really. Next slide, please. So generally our outcomes and impacts have been quite well received. We generally, as I said, set out to do 400 packs, but we've exceeded that. We think probably by the end of this, we'll be in the region of 600 to 700 packs. I said we made the money go further because of either being able to secure products for free from writing out to different organisations, as well as securing some additional top-up funding through the project that Therese is delivering to extend what we're necessarily offering. And that's partly linked to the second point there. So we've linked in with Power Partners that actually paying a part-time staff member to help develop and meet this sort of like cost of living crisis with the work that they can do to try and support the households in need. We saw our Facebook likes and social media presence sort of like go through the roof as part of delivering the product and people coming out to attend our events. I think social media is still an area that we need to work and develop on, but I think that comes with time and someone with a little bit more knowledge on that, but we're trying our best with that. But it was good to see, I think within a space of 3 months, that our likes and reach for that service had doubled. We saw a massive demand increase in people booking that extra consultation with our Fuel and Water Home Advisor to learn more about the products and how they can reduce their carbon footprint. and actually how it can save money in their house by making simple changes, which has been great, particularly in those deprived areas of Sheerness and further across of Swale. We've had different sort of like, sorry, I've just lost my track there. As part of the work that we were doing, the priority register, I'm sure some of you are aware that the island went down with some water issues. But we've had a big focus from this product as well about energy efficiencies and getting people to sign up to the priority register. So as we've been handing out the packs, we've been talking about other things that make sense for families or those that are eligible to join the scheme. We've had all sorts of things around supporting people on their water tariffs to reduce their water usage. The eco eggs have gone down brilliantly when people have been washing their clothes at lower temperatures, and all the basic things that you hear lots about that probably people are a bit more skeptical to try. They've necessarily done that. And we've seen big uptake in our other services that we deliver. So Swale Sisters is sort of like a period poverty project that promotes renewable sanitary project for ladies. And we gave out some of those free packs alongside this work, and the uptake again has been brilliant on that. We've seen big uptake in our fuel and not the fuel and water, the family finance work that we do, and people to understand their budgeting and how to manage their money and prioritising what bills they shouldn't pay or need to pay. And then the partnerships that have developed from this project by going out to these venues that we haven't been before, trying to work in the most efficient way, from us having to drive from door to door, people come to us. We've sort of like got this a hub and spoke sort of model where we now deliver on set days to key outlets, and they then come and collect their products from there, so it can be more accessible all year round. I briefly mentioned the fuel vouchers and the extra support that we've been able to provide to those that have literally had no money or no funds, or struggling to choose to put cook a meal using their gas, or put the lights on at night time. And then part of the work that we're doing, we're just at the moment developing all the different case studies and looking at the feedback that we've had from these services and analysing them. And it's almost like 99.9% of people are saying that they've saved money. Their knowledge in the local or these products and renewable services has increased vastly. There's people that are changing their lights internal from giving us one bulb to changing their whole light systems, and just generally being more conservative with how they're using it. And I know that the current crisis is probably making people double think as well. But I think having the products and the knowledge and the background behind that has really helped. So I think that may be it. Next slide. I think there is just a few pictures of some of the events. So generally we take around a big board and people stand there, and then we use the bags to make up the different products. And we've been into different venues that have been indoors, outside, in community gardens. We've joined in with events. We've attended different workshops and met lots of different people, and you can see some of the pictures of the products and stuff that are live and what's gone on really. And that's generally about the Renewable Roadshow. It's a community-based project. We want to be in the community, reaching those that most want to or need that support, but are willing to try new things and become more energy efficient. Next slide. I think that's probably it. Yeah. So thank you again. We appreciate all the support and everything we've had from OCE. So thank you.